Have you ever walked into a place and immediately felt something was wrong, as if the air was heavy, as if invisible eyes were watching you? That's exactly what happened to Anna, a simple woman who believed she'd found her dream home. The price was incredibly low, almost unbelievable, but she didn't hesitate to close the deal. The real estate agent smiled strangely and simply said, "It's an old house, full of stories." Anna had no idea those stories were still alive within the walls. The first night, everything seemed normal. She organized a few boxes, made some tea, and went to sleep. But around 3 in the morning, she woke to a noise coming from the hallway. It sounded like slow footsteps dragging across the wooden floor. Her heart raced. It must be my imagination. The house is old, she thought. But when she looked at the door, she noticed it was ajar, and she was sure she had locked it. Over the next few days, the signs began to intensify. Objects moved. The living room clock always stopped at the same time, 3:07. The neighbor's dog, which had previously played in the yard, now avoided the house, growling whenever it approached the gate. Anna tried to convince herself it was just adaptation, but deep down, she already sensed something was very wrong. One night, upon entering her room, she noticed a strange mark on the antique mirror that stood against the wall. It looked as if a hand had rested on the glass, but the impression was of fingers that were too long, almost inhuman. A chill ran down her spine. She decided to cover the mirror with a sheet, but when she turned around, she had the distinct sensation that someone was standing in the corner of the room, watching her. What frightened her most was the silence in the house. It wasn't ordinary silence, but a heavy, dense silence, as if every wall held secrets that didn't want to be revealed. Until, one rainy dawn, the suspense turned into real fear. Anna woke to whispers. They were low voices, coming from under the bed. She approached, trembling, and clearly heard someone calling her name. Desperate, she turned on the light, but the bulb blew out instantly. In the darkness, the only light came from the clock in the living room, which suddenly started working again, showing 3:07. At that moment, the door slammed shut, and Anna knew for sure she wasn't alone in that house. And worst of all, the whispers continued, growing clearer, growing closer, until a cold voice, almost in his ear, said, "You shouldn't be here." The shock of that night left Anna sleepless until dawn. When the sun finally rose, she ran outside, breathing a sigh of relief as if she had escaped a nightmare. But it wasn't a nightmare. It was real. During the day, the house seemed normal, quiet, almost welcoming. But she knew that when night fell, something would happen again. Determined to understand, Anna began discreetly asking her neighbors about the house's history. Most avoided answering. Some looked away. Others changed the subject, until an elderly woman, looking straight into her eyes, said in a low voice, "You bought a place where no one should live. Nothing is peaceful there." And before Anna could ask more, the woman simply closed the door. That night, despite all her fear, Anna decided to face it. She prepared candles, lit incense, and placed a Bible open to Psalm 91 on the living room table. She sat, trying to remain calm. At 3 in the morning, as if by a prearranged ritual, the noises began. First footsteps in the hallway, then light knocks on the walls. The air grew cold. The candle flames flickered as if someone were passing nearby. That's when she heard the whispers again. But this time, they weren't just confused voices. She understood clearly. "Go back, it's not your home. Leave before it's too late." Anna froze completely. Frightened, she ran to the covered mirror. The cloth she had placed was gone. The glass reflected not only the room, but also something behind her, a tall, motionless, faceless shadow standing a few steps away. She turned quickly, but there was no one there. The reflection, however, still showed the figure, motionless, watching. Desperate, she tried to run out, but the living room door wouldn't open. The clock read 3:07 again, as if time had stopped. That's when she heard laughter, a low, cold laugh that seemed to come from within the walls. She screamed for help, but no one answered. It felt like the entire house was alive, breathing, trapping her in its secrets. At that moment the candles all went out at once, and in the pitch black, the same voice she had heard before, now clearer, said in her ear, "You are already part of this." Anna felt her body freeze when she heard those words. Her hands trembled, her heart pounding. In the pitch-black darkness, she groped for anything that might help her, but all she found were cold walls and a suffocating silence. Until suddenly, the floor creaked behind her, slow, shuffling footsteps, as if someone were approaching. She closed her eyes, trying to convince herself it was just a figment of her imagination, but heavy breathing echoed near her ear. A cold draft swept across her back, making her hair stand on end like needles. Fear paralyzed her, but something inside her told her that if she didn't react, she would never leave that house. With all her strength, she ran to the kitchen and lit a match, giving the room a minimal amount of light. The flame trembled in her trembling hands. But it revealed something even worse. Black handprints on the walls, like old burns, scattered everywhere. And in the center of the room, the mirror that had previously been covered now glowed alone, as if emitting a shadowy light. Anna approached against her will, mesmerized. In the reflection, she no longer saw herself. She saw the house in ruins, with broken windows, destroyed furniture, and behind her, a figure with deep, empty eyes. The shadow reached out through the reflection, touching the glass from the inside out, leaving marks that burned like fire. She tried to scream, but her voice wouldn't come out. The figure then murmured, "No one who came in here left the same. And now it's your turn." The living room clock chimed on its own, marking 3:07 a.m. for the last time. The candles which had gone out reignited themselves with blue flames, illuminating the room with an eerie glow. And in that moment, Anna realized she wasn't just living in a cursed house. She was inside a portal where time repeated itself and trapped souls begged for company. When he finally managed to open the door and run out, he realized the street was incredibly silent, as if the whole world had fallen asleep. Looking back, the house was gone. Just an empty lot, shrouded in fog, as if it had never existed. Anna fell to her knees, unsure if she was alive, dreaming, or already part of something much larger and darker. The only thing she knew for sure was that the shadow's handprint was now etched on her arm, and since that night, every time the clock strikes 3:07, Anna still feels someone whisper in her ear, "You never left here."